Aloha, I'm Lyla Berg, and we're here at the Queen Emma Summer Palace, ready to converse with the people who inform, inspire, and impact our everyday lives. Thank you for joining us on Island Focus. So we're here at Queen Emma Summer Palace. But
Yes.
It's not really a palace.
It's actually a home that our royal family spent while they were here in Hawai'i. And that would be Kamehameha IV, Alexander Liholiho, along with his beautiful queen, Queen Emma, Kaleleʻōnalani. And 2 years in their marriage, they bore a handsome little prince. And that's Prince Albert Edward Kauikeʻouli Kaleopapa.
Which is pretty significant that they called him Prince Albert
Yes.
because of the relationship that the king had with the Prince Albert of England.
Yes, very much so. And so he is named after her Queen Victoria's consort husband, Prince Albert.
You know, when we walk through here, you can really have a feeling that we're in that time period.
Yes.
The furniture, the kahilis, the artifacts,
Yeah.
you know.
And 80% of the furniture you see today were used by our royal family.
And so well preserved. How lucky we are that you're
Yes.
here working.
Yes,
Beautiful.
thank you. We enjoy it.
Mahalo for tuning in to Island Focus and joining me in conversing with State Senator Brickwood Galuteria. Thank you so much, Brick. I haven't seen you in a long time.
Nice to see you too. I'm glad to see that you're back on air and hosting this wonderful show.
The show is about leadership, and you certainly have provided leadership in all your different career forms over the years. How is it now?
I love what I'm doing. You know, it's all about public service for me, and I'd like to engage everybody to get involved with public service in any way possible. Not everybody's going to be an elected official, but certainly the constituents play large in our decision making. So talk, vote.
And you've always been very deliberate about engaging the community in conversations. What are your topics right now that are most near and dear to your heart?
For me, down at the Capitol, I've put in a lot of energy towards kupuna protections, allowing for the kupuna to understand what's working for them in government, what's available for them in government. I call that kupuna power, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's one of the big initiatives that I certainly get behind constantly, all the time. So aside from just quality of life issues, delivering for my community, which is Kaka'ako, Ala Moana, Waikiki, Makali Mo'ili. It's got to be the most vibrant growth going on in Hawaii today. So I want to be right there. I was born and raised in the area, and so I feel connected.
And that's the same kind of energy that you brought into the entertainment field when you were there.
Yeah, you know, I fed my family, put the roof over my family's head with my guitar. And so when people tell me, hey, listen, you used to be a musician, then you did some radio, some TV, and now you're a state senator, what does that feel like? I tell them, lateral move. Straight across. And everyone has its purpose.
And it's possible for everybody, right, to find their path if they just pay attention.
Yeah, pay attention. And cooperate, listen, and then discern, distill, and decide. You got to decide at some point to get things going for yourself, right?
So if you had pearls of wisdom from your varied career, and we were joking about reaching the kupuna power age ourselves.
Oh, yes.
What would you share?
When you look around, there's so much energy, so much knowledge to be gained. We'll go back to the kupuna as an example. Okay, one of my biggest stories for me is when I took my mother to, was it IHOP or Denny's or something like that, and the waitress turned to her and said, do you want your kupuna breakfast now? She says yes, and then turned to me. I said, you want your kupuna breakfast now? And then I realized, my gosh, you know, I can learn, but I can teach. I want to be a part of the community, and in this particular day, what can I do to contribute? How can I help my grandchildren now to prepare them? You know, just keep on telling them, you'll be Papa's age one day, and you want to be as a contributing member of our community.
And the kupuna power aspect is because I know that we were chatting earlier that you're concerned about kupuna being preyed upon.
Yes, the landscape is very predatory, and you would want better from people, but obviously it doesn't happen that way. So personally, some of my family members got scammed, and so it was from that I decided, okay, that'll be almost a life's mission for me, to empower the kupuna so that they can empower others while empowering themselves. So that's where I am right now.
And empowering means informing and giving them options and...
Yes, and knowing what their options are. I mean, clearly having the government work for them, putting the right people there. Hopefully I'll remain one of them. I love what I do in the state Senate, but who knows what my path will be. I got back to my music. We're a couple of days a month in church. The kahu asked me, do you know praise band music? I said, hey, if you want jazz and Hawaiian, I'm down with that. And we go from there. So I think right now it's a good time in life, and I want to encourage your viewers to, focus, right, on the goodness in their lives, because there's always going to be bad stuff.
Yeah.
But the goodness, I think, is what you want to gravitate towards.
Well, thank you for bringing your goodness on our show today. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, good luck to you.
You've been listening to Island Focus and tuning in to a conversation with Senator Brickwood Galuteria. Thank you. With us today on Island Focus is Jeeyun Lee, who is the Executive Director for the Hawaii Nature Center. Thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
This Nature Center means a lot to you.
It does. It's a really special place. I actually didn't know about it before I started working there a couple of years ago. But I come from the social service sector, and this is an opportunity for me to actually be a part of the population that I serve, because I have a 6-year-old, and our mission is to connect children and families to nature.
Maybe you could share where it's located, because maybe some people don't even know you exist.
Yes, it's a little hidden gem, right in Makiki Valley, at the back of the valley near the foot of the Makiki Loop Trail. And that's our main headquarters, and then we also have a location in Iao Valley on Maui. And in the last 36 years that we've been around, we've served over 1 million local kids.
Now, when you say you've served children, what does the Nature Center really do?
So we have a lot of really wonderful programs and services that really run the gamut. We do weekend family programs where they're able to come and be with their parents and have interactions there. We do birthday parties on site, both in Maui and in Makiki Valley. We also do field trips for schools, both public and private schools. So most of the kids actually on Oʻahu and Maui have probably been to the Nature Center. It's just many of the parents haven't. And then we do intercession day camps during fall, spring, summer, and winter breaks.
So it's predominantly education oriented.
It is.
And having kids work with each other on certain projects, or?
The whole idea is to have an immersive approach to connecting them to nature and really understanding their kuleana in being able to take care of the environment and malama'aina, but then also creating the next generation of environmental stewards. This day and age, the kids are always on their iPads or on a phone, and it's really not a given the way it used to be when we were growing up to be outside all of the time. So it's a really wonderful opportunity for them to connect to the scarce resources that we have, and have them understand that this is something that they're going to be responsible for as they get older, and hopefully make a profession out of it even.
Well, and I appreciate you recognizing that it's different than the times when I grew up, and certainly even with you.
Definitely.
It must be challenging, to have kids to work with kids who are so comfortable with being indoors and on technology, to be outdoors and barefooted or getting dirty or touching things that they're not used to.
Yes, I think the most amazing part is some of the children that we have come into the Nature Center actually haven't really had those experiences. A lot of those things are are almost, frowned upon or looked down upon as doing. So when the kids come out and they're out there playing in the lo'i and getting muddy, I mean, they have an absolutely fabulous time. And initially, many of the kids come in looking really, really nervous about what they're getting into. And by the end of the trip, they're, muddy all the way up to their knees and having to change their clothes before they go home.
So you have lo'i in the back of the valley as well?
We do, yes. It actually is managed by Ō'lelo Kumana, our neighbors down the street in Makiki Valley charter school. And we also help to take care of it as well. So they're able to go up. It's on the Makiki Loop Trail. It's right in our backyard.
I know you mentioned that you have a 6-year-old son and that you include him in your activities. What is in closing for our conversation, what's the one thing that you noticed about his participation with you?
Well, I think that's been one of the most amazing things that I've been able to experience, and it's really a gift that the Nature Center has given to me as well, and the mission has given to me and my son. The opportunity for him to go from, in the beginning when I first started going, oh my gosh, cockroaches and oh, millipedes, and not being able to touch those things, to now I live in Manoa Valley, in the back of the valley, and
you have lots of things that live there with you.
So anything that isn't poisonous, he's going up and saying, Mom, stop everything that you're doing, and he grabs it, puts it in a bug box, and wants to take it outside. So those kinds of experiences for him to really learn not only to malama but also to be able to have the opportunity to take those skills of taking care of other things, and that's that can be really broad in terms of how it can be applied.
Well, thank you for sharing your enthusiasm and so much information with us.
Thank you so much.
We've been chatting with Ji Lee, who is the Executive Director for the Hawaii Nature Center. Thank you for being with us. I'm here with Dale Bachman and Pammy Smith-Chalk with the Daughters of Hawaii. And thank you so much for being with us at the Queen Emma Summer Palace. What a treat.
What a treat.
What is the relationship?
The Daughters of Hawaii was founded in 1903 by 7 Protestant missionary daughters. And they were all members of the Hawaiian Kingdom. They all spoke Hawaiian, and they saw where the culture and the language was being diminished. And so they formed a group to perpetuate the Hawaiian culture and the proper use of the Hawaiian language.
It's so interesting because there's a perception that it's only genetically Hawaiians belong. And you're from Kauai.
The Daughters of Hawaii are a much larger group, and we'd like to grow the membership, of course, on all the islands, and so and be very inclusive to all women in Hawaii who are interested in being a daughter, and who have nieces and daughters. We can all welcome into the Daughters of Hawaii.
I'm fascinated by this because there is the perception that if we're just one generation here or 2 generations and we're not Hawaiian, that we don't belong. We couldn't belong. But what you're saying is that you're welcoming, in this historic organization, you're welcoming everybody.
Yes, we do.
Women.
Women, yes.
We do have a requirement for membership that your ancestors were here prior to 1880. But we have another classification of members. We call them Calabash cousins, which is open to everybody else. And they are very important to our organization as far as fundraising and being volunteers here.
What is one of the most special memories you have being part of this organization?
Just being part of, every day the care of these palaces, because we also take care of the Hulihe Palace in Kona, and so we work hard. We work hard at taking care of these historic places, and just knowing that we're preserving for the future. And the Daughters of Hawaii here will celebrate 100 years next year of caretaking here at the palace.
So when you speak of caretaking, what does that look like and what does that mean?
Well, we're running a museum here, and the daughters required a lease to this property in 1915 when when they were talking about tearing down the palace, because it was in disrepair, and putting in a baseball diamond. The ladies of the daughters said no way, and so they went to the government and they acquired a lease and they opened it as a museum in 1918, and hence our 100th anniversary of caring for the palace.
How special to have you as docents as well, to explain to the visitors and local people, right, what the significance of these places are, and Hulihe'e in Kona as well.
And they're trained docents. They love their history. You can feel that when you're on their tour with them, and all that they share with you. You know, it's just so much.
And there are daughters on every island?
Every island, yes.
So what's the next step for you folks?
Well, we continue to take care of our 2 palaces and fulfill our obligation of education through our programs. And we have cultural classes here. We have hula and quilting and ukulele playing. We have a wonderful book club going when they read Hawaiian books, books on Hawaii.
Wonderful. And I would also imagine that it's bringing women of all ages together.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We're at Queen Emma Summer Palace with Dale Bachman and Pammy Smith-Chalk with the Daughters of Hawaii. Thank you for tuning in.
This is one of the 2 original bedrooms in the home, this one and the one directly across the hall. In this room, as we can see, it belonged to our little prince, Albert Edward. The beautiful bed that's in here is a koa bed. It belonged to Queen Emma. This is her childhood bed. She slept in this bed all the way until she grew up to marry Alexander and leave Rook House, where she was raised by her father, Dr. Rook, and her aunt, Grace.
So this little cradle that we see in front of us is the prince's cradle too?
That is the prince's cradle, also made out of koa wood. In the front room we have his crib. When he got too big for that, he moved into his own 4-poster koa bed. And in front of that, even the Emperor of China knew about our little prince and gave a porcelain bathtub just for him.
And unfortunately, he passed away at a very young age.
Yeah, sadly, our little prince fell sick when he was just 4 years old. Now they've studied the symptoms of what happened to him, and they realized most likely he died from a burst appendix.
But he was very special, this child.
He was the hope of the kingdom. It had been over 45 years since a royal child was born in our kingdom that lived. So it was very celebrated. Everyone in the kingdom was excited. They were outside clicking glasses in the street. There was gunshots going off on Punch Bowl. I mean, it was a real celebration. And a holiday was declared again on his first birthday.
Thank you for joining me in my conversation with Dan Boulos of the Academy for Creative Media at the University of Hawaii. And thank you for being on with us today.
Thank you for having me.
This Academy for Creative Media, is it new?
Well, we've been around since 2004 at UH Manoa, but since 2010 we've been part of the College of Arts and Humanities under Dean Arnada, and we're basically the UH Film School. We train digital cinema filmmakers and animators, and we offer film studies courses.
That's pretty exciting, because in the past, if anyone was interested, they'd have to go to the continent to study filmmaking.
And that's the puka we sort of fill, because here there was never a chance to study film in this way at this level without leaving the state.
Is that your background?
Well, I'm an animator, so I actually came to ACM Manoa in 2011 to work in the animation program. And before that, I was developing digital media at Leeward Community College. And before that, I was in the feature industry in LA for about 12 years. Worked at Disney on films like Beauty and the Beast, and DreamWorks on Prince of Egypt, Road to El Dorado.
So it's always been in your heart to be part of this profession?
Oh yeah. When I found out drawings could move by reading a book when I was in high school, then I decided that was for me. I love drawing. And I got into animation, which led me to the feature film industry. And film is similar, whether it's live action film or different types of animation. It's the same thought process, and it's the same way to approach storytelling.
So there are many companies that come to Hawaii to use our beautiful environment and our people and our stories.
Absolutely.
Part of what your program is about?
We've had many successful internships with Hawaii 5.0 and before that Lost, and we've had opportunities, I think recently, with some of the films that have shot here, including Dwayne Johnson's film and I think some of the Marvel stuff recently. But we're all about creating local filmmakers that can tell their own stories using their own tools and their own techniques. And our program offers documentary training as well as experimental filmmaking and narrative. And every year we have a showcase in the spring which has best comedy, best drama, best experimental film, best animated film.
What's the dream for your academy?
I would like to see it grow and be able to help more students from all of the outer islands. We've been doing a lot of outreach lately to try and connect in ways. We offered our first online course as well. And we've had a lot of success. We have a brother and sister, Kurt and Kari Noe, that have been working with Sundance Labs and creating a film themed on a Hawaiian story that they grew up with on Kauai.
So the animated film Moana, of course, is getting a lot of airtime around the world.
Yes.
Do you envision something like that, being a blockbuster from Hawaii?
I would love for us to produce our own feature, and I would love to do it with the community here and tell the stories the right way, with the right focus and the right sensitivity. And at the same time, I'd like students to feel free to work on commercial productions as well. But I think there's a place for our own filmmaking, including animated features. It's a great industry for Hawaii. There's no shipping costs. It doesn't affect the environment.
And mostly it is to nurture the creativity here that we have in our youth.
Absolutely. Having taught here now for 17 years, I've seen many folks, very talented. Several of them have gone on to the mainland to careers. And very recently, one of our grads just did a Pixar internship this summer. But what I'd love to see is for them to be able to come back. I had one student recently contact me that he wants to move back, start his own small video game mobile app company after having done it for about 10 years in San Francisco.
Well, thank you for your leadership and your vision and your enthusiasm.
Thank you so much for having us.
We've been chatting with Dan Bulas with the Academy for Creative Media at the University of Hawaii. Thank you for joining us, and thank you as well. I have the pleasure of talking with Coralie Matayoshi, who is the CEO of the American Red Cross of Hawaii. Thank you for joining us, and mahalo to you for taking the time.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
The Red Cross has a history internationally, but also in Hawaii.
Yes, in fact, we're celebrating our centennial this year, 2017. It started actually in 1898 when Princess Kaiulani, along with 300 other women, took care of sick and injured soldiers en route from the Philippines during the Spanish-American War. Queen Liliuokalani was an avid supporter of the Red Cross. She sewed a flag that is in our boardroom right now. It's 100 years old. And that flag soared above Iolani Palace during World War I while Red Cross volunteers rolled bandages in the throne room of Iolani Palace.
So she made a Red Cross flag?
Yes, it looked like a red cross, and it flew above Iolani Palace during the war.
What a commitment. You
Yes.
know, and we never hear about our monarchs really being involved in those kind of rescue missions.
Right, and she was really an avid supporter. She asked people to give to the Red Cross, especially for the war relief effort.
Now, the Red Cross is a volunteer organization.
Yes, it is, and a lot of people don't realize that 97% of our workforce is volunteer. And so we couldn't do it without regular people that do all kinds of things. I mean, we need office work, we need people that can deploy. Where people are on call 24/7, 365 days a year, and we respond to any disaster in Hawaii, any place, anywhere within 2 hours. So the first responder will call us, and there's people on board just to deploy.
So how do you interface with the fire department or the police department, the hospitals?
Actually, we are the second responders. So as soon as they get called out for a fire, we're right there. We have a hotline, and they call us, and then we deploy the people that are on call that day or that on those times.
How did you get involved with this particular organization? Because you had quite an interesting career path.
Yes, I started off as a lawyer, and I didn't think that I'd ever be the head of the Red Cross, but in between I was head of the executive director of the Hawaii State Bar Association. And then somebody approached me about this position, and I just fell in love with the mission. And the mission is to prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies by mobilizing the power of volunteers and the generosity of donors.
Oh my gosh, could you say that again? That was really meaningful.
It is. And I'm just really passionate about that, to be able to help people. And I think that my legal career has led me towards this. You know, the ability to persuade people to be passionate about a cause and to just make sure that everyone knows that the Red Cross does need your help, whether it's giving money or time or just telling people to be prepared, because we're right in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. We're the most isolated population on the face of the earth, and we need to be prepared and ready because something can happen right now.
Yes, as we experienced in the past with the hurricanes, with sea level rise now, we never know what else is going on. And when you say helping each other, I don't have any medical skills. And
well, anybody can help somebody save a life through CPR and learn how to swim. We have actually an emergency app, which is the most modern thing that we have. And you can just have at your fingertips how to save a life. They'll walk you through the CPR and even first aid for dogs.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
And so it's neighborhood also organized?
Yes, we're trying to get resilient communities and small businesses to get involved, because a lot of people just don't think that we could be devastated. And we need to help ourselves. We're so isolated that we're going to need actually 14 days at least. Everybody has to have 14 days worth of food and medication and all of that.
And supplies.
Because it's going to take a longer time for people to help us get help.
Well, we're very blessed and very lucky to have you at the helm of the American Red Cross of Hawaii, and more importantly, that Red Cross still exists after all this time.
Yes, I think it's a testament to our wanting to help people and our humanitarian mission that people just rally around, especially in times of disaster.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We've been chatting with Coralie Matayoshi, who is the CEO of the American Red Cross of Hawaii, and we'll hear more in the future from you.
Thank you.
Mahalo to the Queen Emma Summer Palace for hosting us today, and to you for tuning in to Island Focus. I'm Lyla Berg. Aloha and malama pono. Take care of each other. See you soon.